Ever heard of Operation AXIOM? What about Operation Satyr? These sound like something straight out of a spy movie, right? Well, they were very real, and they involved one of the most brilliant and audacious listening devices ever created. And the craziest part, it was hidden inside a gift. A gift from one ally to another. This is the story of the thing. A bugging device that sat in plain sight for 7 long years, right inside the office of the US ambassador in Moscow. Let's rewind to the summer of 1945. World War II is ending, but a new, colder conflict is just beginning. In Moscow, the Soviet Union wanted to celebrate the end of the war and the alliance with the United States and Great Britain. They organized a grand ceremony at a children's summer camp, a gesture of friendship. The Soviet Pioneer Organization presented a gift to the U.S. ambassador, a Varial Harriman. It was a beautiful, hand-carved wooden replica of the Great Seal of the United States. It looked impressive, official, and completely harmless. A symbol of peace and partnership. Harriman, delighted by the gesture, proudly hung it on the wall of his residential study at Sposo House, the ambassador's official residence. And there it stayed, for 7 years. Through Harriman's term, and then through the term of his successor, George F. Kennan. And all that time, it was listening. What the Americans didn't know was that this gift was a Trojan horse. Concealed inside the wooden seal was an incredibly advanced piece of espionage technology, designed by the legendary Soviet inventor, Leon Theremin. Yes, the same guy who invented the Theremin musical instrument. This device was unlike any bug seen before. It had no power source, no batteries, and no active electronic components. It was a passive resonant cavity microphone. How did it work? It was pure genius. The Soviets would park a van nearby and beam a continuous radio wave at the ambassador's office. This radio wave would hit the device, which had a tiny, thin diaphragm that would vibrate with the sound waves from conversations in the room. These vibrations changed the resonant frequency of the cavity inside the seal. The altered radio signal would then bounce back to the Soviet receivers, who could demodulate it and listen in on every single word spoken in the ambassador's private study. Imagine the secrets that were spilled, high-level diplomatic strategies, sensitive political analyses, private conversations all transmitted directly to the Kremlin. The Americans knew their embassy was likely bugged. They conducted regular sweeps, looking for hidden microphones. But they were looking for conventional bugs, devices with batteries or wires. The thing, as it later became known, was completely passive. It was invisible to the standard detection methods of the day. It was the perfect bug. For 7 years, the Soviets had a direct line into the heart of the U.S. diplomatic mission in Moscow. The intelligence they gathered was invaluable, giving them an incredible advantage during the early, tense years of the Cold War. They knew American positions on key issues before the negotiations even started. So, how was it finally discovered? The story of its discovery is almost as fascinating as the device itself. In 1951, a British radio operator monitoring Soviet Air Force radio traffic accidentally stumbled upon American voices on a Soviet channel. He heard conversations that were clearly taking place inside the Moscow embassy. This was a huge red flag. The information was passed to the Americans, but for a while, they still couldn't find the source. The bug was so advanced, it took them months of meticulous searching. They knew something was there, they just couldn't find it. The breakthrough finally came in 1952, under Ambassador George F. Kennan. State Department technicians were conducting yet another sweep of Sposo House. This time, they had a man named Joseph Bestian, a clever engineer, who decided to try something different. Instead of just searching for radio signals being emitted from inside the room, he generated his own radio field and used a receiver to listen for any radiated signals. And then he found it. The signal was coming from the Great Seal hanging on the wall. They took it down, carefully x-rayed it, and discovered the small, simple, yet brilliant device hidden inside. The Americans were stunned. The sheer audacity of hiding a listening device in a gift from an ally and the sheer genius of its design was mind-boggling. They nicknamed it the Thing because they had never seen anything like it. For a while, they kept the discovery a secret. They wanted to study the device, understand how it worked, and maybe even use the knowledge to their own advantage. They even considered a plan to feed the Soviets false information through the bugged seal, a classic counter-espionage move. But in the end, they decided against it. The risk of the Soviets realizing they knew was too great. The story didn't become public until 1960. It was during a United Nations Security Council meeting. The Soviets had accused the US of espionage after shooting down an American U-2 spy plane over their territory. The US ambassador to the UN, Henry Cabot Lodge Jr., wanted to show the world that espionage was a two-way street. In a moment of high drama, he unveiled the Great Seal and revealed the tiny listening device hidden within. He explained how it had been presented as a gift of friendship and had been used to spy on the US ambassador for 7 years. It was a massive propaganda victory for the United States, exposing the hypocrisy of the Soviet accusations. The incident became a legendary tale in the world of intelligence and espionage. It showed just how far nations were willing to go to gain an upper hand during the Cold War. What happened to the Thing? The original device, removed from the Great Seal, is now on display at the National Cryptologic Museum in Maryland. And the seal itself is at the National Security Agency. It serves as a stark reminder of a time when paranoia ran deep, and even a gesture of friendship could be a mask for deception. The technology behind the Thing was revolutionary. It pioneered the field of RFID technology, the same tech we use today in our key fobs, security passes, and contactless payments. It is incredible to think that a Cold War spying device paved the way for so much of our modern convenience. The story of the Great Seal bug is more than just a spy story. It's a lesson in ingenuity, deception, and the complex nature of international relations. It shows us that in the world of espionage, the most dangerous threats can come in the most unexpected packages. It's a perfect example of hiding in plain sight. So next time you see a seemingly innocent gift or a decorative object, maybe give it a second thought. You never know what secrets it might be hiding. The world of espionage is full of incredible stories like this one, where reality is often stranger and more fascinating than any spy novel. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Cold War history, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next story from the shadows. See you next time.